on a news conference at any time now on Hurricane Irma from Martin County.
And we also have some sound from the governor who spoke just a short time ago as he continues to crisscross the state, talking about the seriousness of the storm and the intensity of the storm. And with that in mind, let's send things over to Glenn Glazer right now because it appears from things
Ребятушки, привет!
I've been printing off that
вот и мы.
getting into the newsroom that the storm seems to be deteriorating.
Мы включились в прямой эфир на нашем канале.
This afternoon, just in the last little while.
Yeah, we're really going to start to see things go downhill a bit here as we get, especially in the overnight hours tonight, through the day tomorrow, and especially as we get into Sunday night into Monday. We're going to go to the press conference in Martin County. We'll be right back with more on the forecast.
We can open further shelters to accommodate our residents. We are continually monitoring the status of our shelters, and we will keep you up to date. In the event Martin County does experience the full force of Irma, meaning changes course, we are ready to, or if she stays on the present course that she's on, we can actually serve as a host county for residents of the West Coast seeking shelter over here. Please do not call 911 for storm-related questions. If you have an emergency, obviously call 911. But our public information line is staffed 24 hours a day. It is 287-1652. Again, 772-287-1652. I'd like to introduce our County Administrator, Taryn Krista.
Thank you, Chief, for that update. For us here in Martin County, in preparation for this hurricane, our field ops staff has been out and have inspected and cleared all of our county stormwater drainage structures as was needed. We have proactively placed pumps in flood-prone areas to address any flooding issues that may occur as a result of the heavy rains. Pre-staged county equipment has been placed so
Ребята, мы
that we can
продолжаем
quickly
трансляцию.
facilitate any debris removal that
Возобновляем
may be necessary
трансляцию
or
минуту,
repair any damages that were sustained throughout the
Значит,
storm. To protect the integrity of our water
изменения
supply
какие?
system,
Усилился
we are
сильный
planning
ветер.
currently to shut off the water to Hutchinson Island only at 3
Вот как мы
p.m.
видим,
We will
показывают
continue to
нам
monitor this, and if necessary,
новые
if we
подробности
can,
вращения
postpone it,
урагана.
we will communicate that out as soon as we have made that decision. Martin County Emergency Operations is a team effort. We're working with over 40 participating agencies and we are unified in our effort to jointly manage this storm and convey any information that needs to get out. We are prepared for this storm and we are ready to respond and safeguard our residents and our national resources. We want you to be safe.
Так, давайте пока она говорит, пробежимся еще быстренько по веб-камерам. Посмотрим, что у нас здесь. Тут ветер так. Не сильно дождь. Так, здесь у нас. Вот, ветер усилился. Ветер усилился действительно. Серьезно очень. Ребята, напишите в комментариях, пишите в чате, чтобы я видел ваши комменты. Так, ну как мы видим, мы на веб-камере наблюдается сильный ветер штормовой. Да, присоединяйтесь, да, к трансляции. У Вон еще люди ходят, машинки ездят. Так, виден сильный порывистый ветер. Как мы видим, уже даже камеру трясет. Та камера, которая транслирует эту картинку. Дождя нету, но сильный ветер. Так, что у нас по комментам? Это ничего. О, люди еще умудряются кататься на скейтбордах. В общем, тут еще гуляют. Все весело. Так, посмотрим еще одну камеру. Угу. Так. Это вот она. Вот еще люди гуляют тоже. Так, а что нам говорят в новостях? Это камера. Так.
There will be no expense that will be spared to protect lives.
Ну, здесь
I
выступает
urge everyone to
дама
check on your
города.
neighbors, families, and friends. If you know someone who is not evacuating and should, please contact them and make sure they have a plan to get to safety. But you can't wait to get out. You can't wait until the storm's here. You've got to do it now. Possessions can be replaced. Your house can be replaced. You and your family cannot be replaced. Shelters. We have been working with counties across the state to ensure there are enough shelters. Currently, there are more than 320 shelters open across every county in the path of the storm, and more are opening today. More than 54,000 Floridians have already taken shelter, and there's still room for more. If you have a building and emergency officials ask you to open a shelter, please comply. You will save somebody's life. This is so important to families seeking safety. Everyone in
Вот нам
Florida needs to find
показано
a
на
safe place to
картинке,
go.
да, веб-камеры
Traffic.
волны.
Evacuation routes are moving, and we have stopped the shoulder driving on I-75 from Wildwood to the Georgia line because traffic is moving. If there's a need to reopen this, FDOT and Highway Safety will do so immediately. Evacuations are not meant to be convenient. They are meant to keep you safe. Check real-time traffic information and evacuation routes at fl511.com. Fuel. We are still aggressively working to keep gas stations open and filled. This won't last much longer in South Florida because it will be unsafe to be on the roads. While all the fuel ports in Florida are now closed for safety as Irma impacts our state, following the storm, state troopers will resume escorting fuel supply trucks directly to gas stations across the state. I waived Florida motor fuel import tax for 5 days to help bring more fuel to our state for storm response and recovery. This will make our efforts to bring more fuel into our state help us bring more fuel from other states, neighboring states after the storm. We know fuel is important. We're doing everything we can to get more fuel in the state. Florida's prepared. Every single Florida Guardsman that can be deployed has already been deployed to prepare and respond to this storm across the state. We have so many members of our law enforcement that are putting their lives at risk to help Floridians get to a safe place, and they will not stop until it's no longer safe.
Камеру еще.
We cannot thank our guardsmen, we can't thank our law enforcement, we can't thank any of our first responders enough because they're putting themselves at risk to take care of everybody else.
Как мы видим, людишки гуляют. Так, смотрим дальше. Смотрим дальше. Ребятки, всех приветствую на прямой трансляции. Привет. Приветствую всех, кто был, и новых, кто зашел. Мы смотрим прямую трансляцию урагана ИРМА. Который сейчас бушует уже неподалеку в Флориде. Волны видно, что усилились. Так, ребятки, приветик еще раз. Извиняюсь, что я так долго не был тут в эфире, потому что налаживал чат. Так, ну давайте посмотрим, что здесь происходит. Так. Пишут мне, что он тут теряет силу на Кубе. Ну, все, я же говорю, события могут развиваться буквально по часам, даже по минутам. Давайте послушаем, посмотрим, что они тут говорят.
For quarter of a mile, half a mile at the main intersection, we're trying to flow that traffic as best as we can. I'm curious because that area, there's a lot of campers and RVs, a lot of campgrounds throughout that area. So, what's happening in that situation? We have the emergency operations has not issued any mandatory evacuations. It's all been voluntary at this point. So, we're trying to get the folks that are in low-lying areas, manufactured home, mobile homes, and those RVs, we're trying to get them into shelters.
По сути того, что люди стоят там на набережной и все это смотрят, фотографируют, в общем, что-то не особенно, конечно, волнение там сильное. Я вам скажу, может быть, конечно, то, что еще пару дней назад самолет ВВС США, который следит за ураганами, они же туда летали и проводили там исследования. Может, все тоже какую-то свою работу сделали в плане того, чтобы ураган не дошел до Флориды. Ребята, сходимся на трансляцию. Пишем в чате вопросики, общаемся в чате. Смотрим с нами вместе трансляцию. Вон люди уже на пляж вышли, в общем, уже по полной программе как-то пошло отдых какой-то. Сейчас, по-моему, все выйдут с полотенцем, еще купаться будут. Зонтики поставят.
I believe. Yes, ma'am. Yeah. So that's for special needs, and so if you are in Okeechobee County, the sheriff is telling you right now, if you are special needs, go to the Fence Center in St. Lucie County and do have what you need to be there for several days, because as you've heard the sheriff say.
Может быть, он на Кубе и остановится, раз он там крутится все время в районе Кубы.
Thank you, ma'am. All right, thank you. We'll talk again. The change in direction of Hurricane Irma is causing some major changes, as you might imagine, for people in our area who were looking to go to the West Coast to avoid the wrath of Irma here.
Your News Channel 5's Chris Stewart hit the road, and he found a local woman who is changing her plans now to escape the storm.
Here at the Fort Drum Service Plaza on the Turnpike, it almost feels like a complete 180 from what we saw earlier this week. You take a look at all
Так,
these
посмотрим, что у нас по камерам тут.
Not to head north, they're heading south, heading back home to Palm Beach County, heading back to South Florida now that we've seen the change in this forecast. One woman from the Treasure Coast tells us she had 7 hours it took her to get to Tampa, and now they're turning around and coming back.
I mean, we've been through.
В общем, все довольны, пока ничего такого особенного страшного нету.
We're ready.
You've clocked a lot of miles.
Oh yeah, definitely. We're ready to just have it come and go and deal with the aftermath now.
Where are you going to spend time now?
Right now we're just gonna hunker down at home. We're more than prepared.
Ну да, вот Вано написал, там, где у него большая скорость, он стоит над океаном, понижает давление над водой, и вода лучше испаряется и захватывает порыв воды. И тучи растут, и над водой нету сопротивлений больших, да? Может быть, да.
Trying to figure out exactly where Irma is going to go. We're live on the Florida Turnpike in Okeechobee County.
Так, давайте глянем, что у нас на веб-камерах есть. Ну, здесь слышно усиление ветра. Ветер. Он, да, ветер усилился. Но даже вот не совсем заволокло небо. Видно даже вот просветы чистого неба ясного. Конечно, движутся облака, видно, как с какой скоростью быстро. То есть это все вращается. Да, если он будет над Кубой так вращаться, точно быстро разрядится. Даже вот видно как. Но это все еще не показатель, это все может измениться. Я же говорю, тут за полминуты все может измениться. Ветер. Ветер сильный. Так, идем дальше. Что у нас здесь?
You know, maybe that's a sign of things to come here. Sometimes it's a matter of not if it's going to happen, but when it's going to happen, and then how quickly it can be restored after the fact.
And that is true. And now that we're under a tornado.
Так, что у нас тут веб-камера показывает? Угу. Так, и тут. Так. Так, что вот это? Ветер. Основного дождя нету, ветер сильный. Так, хорошо, идем на новости.
This would only occur during the storm event itself when the sloshing is taking effect. The sloshing effect could send water into the construction sites and possibly have sloshing effect could send water into the construction sites and possibly have some minor flooding near the construction sites.
Может, так не все и страшно, как
looking at right now. But overall, we believe the lake is in a
тут
good spot,
картинку.
and any minor flooding due to that would be a low likelihood.
So you're monitoring those construction sites. Are you doing anything actively to help kind of keep that overflow contained?
The construction sites have cut-off walls that are built around them to protect from this sort of storm surge. Only in an extreme condition would the storm surge overtop these construction sites, and once the storm passes, the risk of that goes back down again. So after the storm passes, we have teams that are in place around the lake who will be going to each of the sites as well as the remainder of the dike around the lake to look for any impact points.
All right, well, thank you for what you do and for talking to us and telling us how you're monitoring this storm. And one of the other big things that came out of the press conference a little earlier was that the curfew in Palm Beach County, for all of Palm Beach County, starts at 3 p.m. Unless you have a valid reason to be out on the roads, they want you inside, they want you to shelter in place, or they want you to be at one of the many shelters. They still have more than 31,000 spots open for anyone who would like to go to a shelter in Palm Beach County. For now, reporting live, Sam Smink, WPTV News Channel 5.
Sam, thank you. It's good to hear a little reassurance that the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers feels that the lake is at a good spot right now. I believe you said 13.5 feet roughly.
Yeah, that's good. And,
в общем, он тупо крутится сейчас над Кубой, и как дальше будет неизвестно.
As it moves through, a tornado watch for Palm Beach County, and you can see wind and pretty rough surf out there as we take a peek outside. We'll be right back.
Смотрим веб-камеру, что у нас тут. Да. Ну, ветер сильный, ветер сильный. Так, переходим на новости.
Just zipping by 2 o'clock right now as we continue to follow Hurricane Irma's path.
So we know you want to know the very latest on the storm, so let's get right over to Storm Team 5 meteorologist Steve Villanueva for the very latest.
Так, сколько у них? 2 часа дня уже,
Good
да?
day, everyone. We continue to monitor Hurricane Irma right now, about 200 miles due south of Miami. Now, just as a reminder, everyone, we still have hurricane warnings in effect for the entire viewing area, even though the track is now
Каждый раз выходят новые эти обозреватели погоды.
Hurricane warnings in effect. That means the shutters stay up. As the storm system approaches, we will see winds increase. As we head to tomorrow, the winds will be very, very
Ладно,
powerful.
послушаем, что он тут
Even though
будет
the
говорить.
storm, by the time we get to tomorrow afternoon and tomorrow evening, goes up the west coast, locally, where we are, we will see winds of 40 to 70 miles per hour, wind gusts stronger than that, and back across the lake, since you're going to be closer to the center of the storm, you could have wind gusts of 90, maybe 100 miles per hour. So again, the hurricane
Ребята,
warnings
пишите
are
в
still
комментах,
up.
что вы
That means
думаете
the
тут.
shutters stay up. All right, so now what's new? We now have tornado watches in effect for all of South Florida. So basically from the lake southward, we have a tornado watch in effect, and that does include Palm Beach County. As we start to see those rain bands increase, we can start to see some of the thunderstorms within the rain band start to spin on up, and they produce tornadoes. It's very common with these types of situations with hurricanes. So there's the hurricane right there. You can see it hugging the coast of Cuba. And there's Miami right there. There's West Palm Beach, and you can see it's basically due south of West Palm Beach by about 250 miles. But notice you can see the moisture rotating around it, pushing into parts of the area, especially into far southern Florida. And in fact, at Miami International Airport, we had a wind gust of 75 miles per hour. So you can see this is a very strong storm system. Even though it's 200 miles south of Miami, they still had hurricane force winds within some of those heavier rain bands that came on through. So in the meantime, right now, we do have some moisture making its way across the area. Indian River County, you're quiet at the moment, but notice what you have right there, pushing towards Vero Beach, we do have a heavy shower moving through. Likewise around Fort Pierce over towards the power plant, Nettles Island, just north of Port St. Lucie. A lot of moisture coming in off the Atlantic and coming through very, very quickly, but these little individual cells can easily produce 1 to 2 inches of rain per hour. So we are seeing a lot of moisture. Also into Okeechobee County, we have some cells coming through producing heavy rain and some gusty winds within those cells as well. In the meantime, things are pretty quiet right now from Indiantown, Heritage Ridge, over towards North Passage, and into Palm Beach County. You can see some moisture coming through, coming in from the east and moving very quickly towards the west. So right now from Belle Glade, Canal Point, we're seeing some locally heavy downpours with some of those storms moving across the area. So here's what we have. All right, we have some breaking news. Let's toss it to Indian River EOC.
Island. It is underway now. Please, if you're out there, go to those shelters. That's why we have them available. Get to a safe area. As Ed has said, this could change in a moment. I want to give you some updates on the shelters. Just out a little while ago at the Freshman Learning Center, they've got approximately 430 people in there as of noon. Sebastian Middle School has approximately 230 people. Treasure Coast Elementary has 117. Oslo Middle School has 265. I was just out there a little while ago. Everybody was in good spirits. Liberty Magnet has 113. That's our pet-friendly shelter. And Fellsmere Elementary has approximately 94. That's as of noon time today. The question continues to come up with how late can someone go to a shelter? As long as we continue to have a safe travel for folks, we will allow you to go to the shelter. However, we do not want people out on the roads unless they absolutely have to. We would rather you get there sooner, as soon as you possibly can. We want to get folks registered. What we don't want to see is, like Freshman Learning Center with 430 people, we don't want to see a rush at the end of this storm as it approaches, where we're trying to scramble to open up more shelters. That would not be good. That would not be safe for our first responders or our volunteers. We need to know how many people are going to be in those shelters throughout the storm. So the quicker you can get there, the better off it is and the easier it is for us for our operations. Questions continue to come in about curfews or bans. At this time, there is no curfew in Indian River County. We do not have any alcohol bans. None of those things are planned at this time. However, County Administrator Jason Brown will consider those things if need be. So we're taking those into consideration. There's also questions about electricity, water, and sewer, if those will be intentionally cut off at any point. There are no plans in Indian River County to disable any of those things. People continue to post on social media asking those questions. If you lose power or electricity or water, that's because of the storm. That is not anything intentional, so just think of it that way. Again, bridges continue to be a hot topic. The bridges in Indian River County will close when the winds are measured at a sustained 39 miles per hour. So keep your eye on the winds out there. If you're somebody on the West Coast that's planning on coming back, your time is limited. You need to get back soon, make your way across that bridge. We don't want you to get caught in a situation where you come back to Indian River County because you're going over the bridge and you don't have time to get over that bridge. So as soon as those winds reach 39 miles per hour, we will close them. Thank you guys for being here. Be safe.
Muy buenas tardes, mi nombre es María Resto y yo soy la administradora de servicios de emergencia del condado Indian River. Le queremos recordar que el condado Indian River continúa bajo una advertencia de huracán, a pesar de que la trayectoria del...
All right, well, once again, they reiterate, get to a shelter if you need to, and get to safety, and better do it now rather than later when conditions deteriorate. And also the bridges in Indian River County, a reminder that they will close when the winds reach sustained 39 miles an hour. It's another thing, you don't want to get caught out there on the other side of the bridge.
And I think he made a very good point too about the shelters. And if you're thinking about going to a shelter or you're in one of these evacuation zones, you heard him talking about evacuating, do it now, because they don't want you showing up and deciding to leave and get to a shelter in the thick of things as the storm starts to intensify in our area. And we are still under a hurricane watch in Palm Beach County specifically, not Indian River County, but we do have a tornado watch. So this is going to continue as this storm continues to make its way toward the peninsula.
Так, ребятки, давайте посмотрим на веб-камеры, что у нас тут.
When we're having a
О, включили еще одну камеру поближе. А, это та же камера, только приблизили. Ну, как мы видим, волны, да, есть, но небольшие. Ветер, да. Сказали, что его ждут через 5 часов. Ну да, может быть. Тут же каждый раз все меняется. Да, все может измениться. Он вообще может пойти в другую сторону. Но камеру трясет капитально от ветра. Да. Пока на Кубе он, пока на Кубе. В районе Кубы. Как только начнется движение в сторону Флориды, тогда уже будет понятно, что там будет уже серьезная ситуация. Ребята, напишите, как слышно в прямой трансляции. Нормально меня? Ребята, напишите, как в прямой трансляции. Тут слышно меня? Нормально все? Окей. Вот кто зашел у нас новый, хочу воспользоваться случаем, напомнить насчет трансляции, которая будет на следующей неделе. Это будет вторник, по-моему, 12 число. Будем смотреть презентацию нового iPhone 8. Вот, так что это где Александр Бурбелло спрашивает. Это где? Это Флорида. Ждем урагана ИРМА, который надвигается с Кубы. Но еще все под вопросом, потому что не знаем. Вот у нас тут дискуссия в плане того, что он может и над Кубой рассеяться, а может и вообще не пойдет на Флориду. Но пока ситуация такая неизвестная, и все готовы встречать Ирму. А, будет ли трансляция того вихря, что идет за Ирмой? Ну, даже не знаю, может быть и да. Они не говорят вообще, они говорят о Ирме, о том урагане, который идет за Ирмой, почему-то особенно нет. И про Мексику не очень. Ну, тут как бы упомянули пару раз Мексику, но конкретно о тех ураганах ничего не говорят. Напишите, кто знает. Напишите здесь, напишите в чате. Интересно. Сумерки могут сдвинуть его? Ну, может быть, да. Может быть и да. Уже пошло время за... Уже сколько? 2 часа дня в Америке, да? Ну, во Флориде. 2 часа дня. Начнет темнеть и вообще ничего не увидим. Это все может ночью произойти. Да, размер огромный, конечно. И сила тоже. Урагана. Татьяна Островская. Вот если два вихря объединятся, тогда это все сила, конечно. Это сила огромная может быть. Тогда действительно он и в размерах будет и сильнее. Тогда точно там Флорида под угрозой будет капитально, так как рядом находится. Так, ну что, посмотрим новости, да? Мы потом еще вернемся к камерам, веб-камерам. Посмотрим, что нам передают тут. Что-то ведущая так раскашлялась.
Tweeting out and emailing and conversations on Facebook about, hey, everything's past us now. Shutters are coming off this afternoon, but that's just really not the right thing to do.
Ребята, делитесь трансляцией, кто смотрит. Да, если они объединятся, да, серьезно может быть.
The problem is everyone is concerned about the eye wall. Where is that eye wall? And if that eye wall is not on top of you, you think, oh, it's not going to be so bad. But the eye wall is 130 miles away from us. At least that's where it's forecasted to be. And tropical storm force winds extend more than 200 miles from that center. And we are in that. So you still have to deal with very strong winds and very heavy rain. So this is not going to be a Harvey type of rain situation where you get 50 inches because it's such a fast mover. But
но то, что они объединятся, конечно, это под большим вопросом, потому что расстояние между ними огромное.
Well, and that's why we want to stay with everybody, because we still have some rough hours ahead when you're going to want to know what Steve's saying about the weather and what we can share with you about power outages. So we'll go through this. Worst for us perhaps is still ahead, even though it is not going to be the brunt of the storm at this point. That's how it appears. So thanks, Steve. We'll check back in shortly.
All right, and at some point you will probably lose power. So reminder.
Ну, они рекламируют свой канал и также рекламируют радиостанцию и также интернет веб-сайт.
If your power stays on, but you lose your TV signal, again, you can follow our continuous stream on Facebook, our website. WPTV.com, YouTube, and our free WPTV app.
And of course, you can go to our radio partner 106.3 to listen to us as well. So the bottom line here, you do want to keep your everything charged.
Давайте еще глянем, что у нас есть под веб-камерам тут. Ну, тут уже тоже сильно, да, сила. Да, усилилось, видно даже. Смотрите. Вот здесь вот, аж прямо уже волны такие. Ну, люди ходят, гуляют еще. Любопытные. Вообще на каком-то мотоцикле едешь. Не, усилилось. Да, волны стали больше. Вот это еще видно вот здесь вот. Вот тут вот. И ветер усилился. Вану, а что скажешь? Какие прогнозы, судя по этой картинке на веб-камере? Какие прогнозы? Да, по гребням больше белого цвета, тоже согласен, да. Не, усилилось. Так, ну давайте на новости опять глянем. Мы, в общем, туда-сюда бегаем, чтобы быть в курсе. Так, что они тут нам говорят? Я так смотрю, что они показывают веб-камеры разных, они установлены в разных частях Флориды, Майами. На одной камере видно усиление, так вот волн, на другой нет, как бы спокойнее, люди еще гуляют, как бы.
So you haven't lost your faith in humanity yet?
No, never.
Okay, that's good to hear. So as you'll
Ветер
see
вырос,
throughout our
да,
coverage,
сильнее стал, да.
hurricanes tend to bring out the worst in people and the
Ну да, он
absolute
может
best. We'll keep you
и
updated
снизиться
here from the Emergency
скоростью.
Operations Center in Palm Beach County. But for
Скорость
now,
ветра
I'll
может
see you guys.
снизиться, это да.
I know if Diane knows that I'm sitting here, she probably is certain that I have a couple of questions because this is stomach turning. It just makes me sick. But I would like to know from Diane's, can they prosecute these people who've left these dogs?
That's a very good question. So we have another follow-up question for you. What about prosecution if you leave your animal out during Hurricane Irma?
Our goal would be to file felony cruelty charges on someone that does this. You know, there is the burden of proving that case, but, you know, the good news is that the animals are out of that situation, and we'll do our best to make sure they don't go back to that home.
And that's my next question. How difficult is it to prove these cases?
Well, you know, it's always difficult, but we will do our best. And we
Так, я так вижу, эта картинка у нас идет в прямом эфире. Вот. А, ну они уже убрали. Вот, да, волны стали сильнее.
Anybody that leaves their animal out during Hurricane Irma, so if you're thinking about doing it, you may want to consider those words before you.
Второй ураган Хосе, да. Да, Татьяна. Второй ураган Хосе.
I just have another question. With ACC closed for the day, because I'm going to put out a plea for everybody to make.
Ну, про второй ураган особенно не говорят почему-то. И тот, который возле Мексики еще
What
один.
should they do if they see this in animal care and control isn't open right now? If they see a dog that's been abandoned, or a cat, or a cow, or a horse, or something like that.
Absolutely. So we have another follow-up question. So if somebody, if you do see a dog, livestock, anything abandoned, We talked about this a little bit, but once ACC is closed, what can you do?
Well, there's limited.
Да, вот Вано у нас написал, значит, в галактиках рукава есть, в них разная скорость в вихрях. Значит, в вихрях тоже рукава должны быть. Это более плотный ветер. Он вращается и вращаются рукава.
So are you saying that, you know, protect human life before animal life in this case?
Yes, human life does come first.
Вано не против, если я буду так зачитывать комментарии в чате?
That's a really good point. So everyone keep that in mind. But if you can protect those animals before the conditions get even worse out there, please go ahead and do so now while you still have the daylight left to help you.
Thank you, Maris. Please tell Diane thank you for all the work they do, because times like this,
they're sending a lot of thanks.
We see, as you've always mentioned, we always say this, we see so much more good in people, but these bads really just make you to sucker punch to the gut, isn't it?
Окей. Может, кто-то знает про остальные ураганы, Хосе и Катя? Напишите в чате. Кто что знает?
You know, and the thing is, very often people can't leave with their animals. They cannot, they've got to leave. If you find a neighbor, usually if you know anybody and you explain your situation, somebody will take your pet, somebody will find somebody to take your pet, but you can't have a pet if you think tying it to a tree is okay.
And you can't do it spur of the moment. That's why you have to prepare ahead of time. The what ifs that come up in situations like this, a big storm where you have to evacuate. Sometimes the evacuation, it shouldn't be spur of the moment, but in case it is, you've done your homework ahead of time. You know your neighbors. You've talked to them. The what if.
Well, we've talked a lot as we move on this afternoon about people who, when we thought Irma was coming up the I-95 corridor, they headed west, and now it's and let's get back east. So.
Ребята, напишите еще, какое качество картинки у вас идет у вас.
Yeah, we've seen really countless families who are coming here. They're trying to look for gas over here. There's obviously no gas. There's a bunch of utility trucks who have been coming through here as well. These trucks are
о чем они говорят?
Мы
тут наблюдаем в прямом эфире ураган ИРМА, который движется в сторону Флориды. Ребята, если кто еще зашел, ничего не в курсе, смотрите новости, смотрите нашу трансляцию, подписывайтесь на канал. Качество картинки, да, я понял.
I don't know. It's a catch-22. See, it's really a catch-22. So I have to figure this whole thing out. Right now, I'm just taking phone calls from family members and figuring out what we should do, and everybody is just their own hands with it. So I don't know what I should do.
Так, насчет остальных двух ураганов особенно не говорят ничего, мы пока ничего не знаем.
And he really didn't have a decision when I spoke with him. People say they are exhausted from the past few days. There's people who evacuated to be in tons of traffic, and then they said the ride back.
Да, если кто еще не знает, в Мексике было землетрясение, 8 баллов, по-моему. Вот, но ожидается цунами, и не знают какое, может быть от 1 метра до 25-30 метров.
You fight traffic to get to someplace. You think you're going to be safe. You turn around and you're exhausted.
Now, Tori, are they open? It looks kind of quiet behind you, but I saw a few cars coming through. Can people go to a plaza and get gas or some food or something?
No, unfortunately, a lot of people are stopping here to try to get gas, but you'll see over here in the gas pumps, they're wrapped in plastic. They don't have gas here. They have state troopers who are stationed over here, and they're announcing on loudspeaker or megaphone saying we don't have any gas here. There are also no bathrooms, no food, because this plaza here is closed. So we heard from one woman who was basically coming in here on fumes looking for gas, and was like, where have you guys seen gas? I need gas. I'm about to run out. And honestly, at this point, we didn't really have a good answer for her on that. Being on the turnpike, people have been looking for restrooms.
Я вещаю с
They've
Израиля.
been traveling for hours, so they're tired, they're stressed out, they don't really know if they've made the right decision or not, and they're looking for food and gas. That is definitely clear standing out here.
It is so sad, and that is the situation. So sad, the situation that our elected officials and others wanted to avoid.
Well, and that's why I think so many times we hear it over and over, shelter in place if you can, because these situations do come up.
Ребята, кто откуда смотрит, кстати? Вот тут мне вопрос задали. Откуда я вещаю? Откуда вы смотрите?
It's windy out there, and look at that chop. And this is just the beginning. We're just getting started with, if you were to look at Miami Beach, that situation there is a lot windier.
Здесь они уходят на рекламу, я так понял.
Getting that way as we go on through the hours, and hopefully just another day.
2:29, да.
All right, there's Miami Beach. Miami Beach. I was just there for the Labor Day holiday, and the beach didn't look like that.
No, not what you wanted.
We'll be back.
Так, что у нас на вебке? Посмотрим. О, Беларусь, да, привет, Беларусь. И привет, Россия, Казань. Так, окей. Так, что у нас тут по вебкам? По вебкам пройдемся, посмотрим. Белоруссии привет, да. Из Израиля. Вон там люди фотографируются, нормально вообще. При таком ветре, вон. Фоткаются. Снимают, фоткаются. Ну, наверное, нормально вообще. Ребята, делитесь трансляцией тоже. Если у вас есть там возможность, у кого есть свой канал там. Даже если и нету, так... Да, так что приятно было, что вы пришли, зашли на мою трансляцию. Вот, из Беларуси. Смотрите наши видео здесь о путешествиях. И смешные. Ну, понятно, что... Да, лучше бы из города уезжали. Да, ну это такие экстремалы, которые ходят, там фоткаются. Так, что дальше? Так, по этой вебке мы видим волны небольшие. Относительно, так как бы. Но при этом ветре, который сейчас. А здесь уже что-то плывет. Вот. Где-то что-то оторвало, видно, кусок. Чего-то. Что-то про вулкан подземный говорят. Какой именно? Вулкан. Напишите, кто знает эту информацию. Также напишите про еще два урагана. Кто знает, что... Так, окей. Смотрим, что еще здесь. Нам показывают тут волны какие. Ага, вот камера переключилась. Ну тут вообще нет, почти небо ясное. Облака, вот их немного тут. Это часть Флориды где-то, не знаю где. Йеллоустон, да, вулкан, да. Что говорят, что проснулся Йеллоустон. Нет, не этот, ну понятно. Так, хорошо, переходим с камер. Идем на новости опять же. Глянем, что в новостях.
So once it does make its way back over that water, it is going to intensify once again. All right, so let's show you the track. There it is, Category 3. You can see it's about roughly 200 to 250 miles south of Miami. Now, over the next couple of hours, it's going to start to lift towards the northwest. As it makes its way towards Key West, it jumps back up in speed up to about 140 miles per hour. So that makes it a Category 4. That is a major hurricane going right on top of Key West. That means super strong winds of 140 miles per hour, stronger gusts. That means a massive storm surge. So the Florida Keys are going to get hit very, very hard with this storm system. Hopefully everyone evacuated because this is a serious, serious storm system. Then after that, it makes its way up towards Fort Myers. As we head into tomorrow night, around 8 p.m., still a Category 4 hurricane, very strong. Then it shoots up towards Tampa as we head towards Monday morning, 8 a.m., Category 3.
Ребята, ну никто не написал еще над тем, что я предложил вам во вторник, 12 числа, быть тоже в прямом эфире с нами на презентации iPhone 8. Как вы насчет этого? Одобряем?
So even though the storm is taking more of a westerly track, it's so close to us that we'll continue to see really strong winds easily from 40 to 70 miles per hour, maybe gusts stronger than that, especially back across the lake because you're going to be closer to the center of that storm system. Now, we can't say this enough. We still have hurricane warnings in effect. There's a hurricane heading our way, so as a result, keep those storm shutters up. Okay, do not bring them down. Don't think that we're out of the woods simply because the eye wall won't affect us directly. We're so close to that eye wall that we will see strong winds and definitely very, very heavy rain. Now, we also have a tornado watch in effect for Palm Beach County, basically from the lake southward. Very common with hurricanes as the hurricane sends a lot of moisture in. Those feeder bands, some of those thunderstorms start to spin on up, and you do get weak tornadoes, but they're tornadoes nonetheless, and they can produce damage. So we do have that tornado watch in effect for Palm Beach County. Now, here are the impacts. Wind high to extreme, simply because this is going to be such a long duration event. We could have wind gusts up to 70 miles per hour along the coast, back across the lake, stronger than that, and then definitely even stronger than that on the west coast of Florida, because they're going to be so close to that eye wall. And if you're close to that eye wall, that's where the strongest winds are found within the hurricane. Storm surge up to about a moderate chance, anywhere from 1 to 3 feet for us, but for southwestern Florida, boy, it is going to be just a huge storm surge, really dangerous. Tornadoes, a moderate chance, since we now have that tornado watch in effect. And flooding rains, yes, we're going to see definitely a lot of rain as the storm system makes its way up the west coast of Florida. We're so close to it, we're underneath it. It's such a big storm. It is 500 miles across, about the size of the state of Texas, and the peninsula is 130 miles across. So basically, this storm system will affect everyone in the state of Florida, with a lot of rain too. For us, anywhere from 6 to 12 inches of rain, maybe some higher amounts of rain in some isolated spots. So we could see areas of flooding in the Palm Beaches and the Treasure Coast over the next 24 to 36 hours as the storm system makes its way across the region. So here's the storm surge map for us, basically anywhere from 1 to 3 feet. But the real concern is from Fort Myers southward through Naples, through Marco Island, into Collier County, into Monroe County, down towards the Keys. This is where we could have storm surge of over 10 feet, up to 15 feet. That is 15 feet of water coming ashore. So that's why they're asking anyone who lives in this area here, especially along the coast, to evacuate. This will be a very dangerous situation. As that storm makes its way northward up towards Fort Myers, it will simply push all of that water ashore, and that means widespread, dangerous, catastrophic flooding for this area right here, from Fort Myers southward through Collier County and into Monroe County and into the Keys. That's why they're saying it is time to get out now.
Wow, we sure got that. Now, let me just ask you, if I may,
sure.
3 to 6 feet in Tampa, that seems a little bit interesting too, with the islands around there and the bay and all of that. Can that be very dangerous for the people who live there?
Yes, absolutely. Funny story. My wife and kids yesterday morning went up to Tampa early in the morning, around 4 a.m. We got them a really big hotel in downtown Tampa. We're like, it's a super sturdy hotel. The problem, a block away from Tampa Bay. So what happened, they issued the evacuation because it was so close to the bay. So they got there, they're like, sorry, you have to go to a shelter. And once the new data started coming in that this was going to be more of a West Coast storm, they just turned around and came home.
Oh.
Wow. And you mentioned 15 feet. I mean, it's hard to fathom.
How big is a house?
Yeah, exactly. And that's.
I mean, your ceilings are 10 feet
We
tall.
saw that in Houston.
So how far inland would that go?
That would go miles inland.
Miles.
Yeah.
So 3 to 6 feet can go blocks or miles.
For us, typically, whenever we get the storm surge, they say anyone west of Federal or east of Federal has to be on alert.
This is, and so many of us just.
Так, глянем тут. Давайте на вебке.
Talk to you more about it because to drive home to all of our friends on the West Coast, and a lot of us have friends on the West Coast.
Ну, пока без изменений тут все. Так, глянем еще одну вебку. Здесь картинка остановилась. Так, здесь уже добавились новые камеры. Майами, да. так и в районе Кубы и крутится. Людишки. Так, вот еще 2 новые камеры добавились. Так, ребята, где ваш чат? Где комменты? Да, ребята, тут такой вообще вопрос задали. Вообще, как он может там крутиться на одном месте? Как такое вообще возможно? Он же так просверлит дырку там. Действительно, как он на одном месте крутится и никуда, ни туда, ни сюда. У него даже движения никакого нет, он на одном месте крутится. Он не движется никуда. Вот показано на этом вот, на этом видео. Он зацепился за Кубу, да, ветрами. Да, что его может сдвинуть действительно? Да, интересно. А, на ночной стороне более плотный воздух, да. Я немножко тут разбавил нашу трансляцию музыки, чтобы совсем скучно не было. Да, Вано, я тут читаю комментарии в чате твои, интересно очень. Так, ну ветер тут усилился, конечно, да. Но с ураганом без изменений, да. Так, ребята, я тут. Ну вот мы смотрим эти веб-камеры. Люди фотографируются. Меня потрясает вообще вот. Ну, конечно, наверное, ветер не такой сильный, что там сносит. Но просто было объявлено никому не появляться в районе пляжей. Так, ладно, переходим на... Посмотрим, что у нас по новостям.
Frequently during the course of the evening and afternoon, for that matter, and all through tomorrow, as you can see the Atlantic Ocean beginning to pick up a little bit before Mother Nature roars. Back with more in a moment.
Так, тут у нас реклама, скорее всего. Смотрим вебку. Ну, а какие прогнозы насчет вот этой картинки? Да, ветер подрос, да. Глаз сместился в сторону Флориды. И что означает сие? Что он двинется туда. То есть он может не пойти в сторону Флориды, если оторвется от Кубы, а в океан. Уйти в океан и там все разойтись. Или нет? А в океане наберет силу еще больше. А, меньше. Так, что у нас в новостях?
Those pictures, you know, they were there on vacation. Many of them were on vacation just the day before. Beautiful tropical setting, and you walk out and it's just, you know, a disaster.
Так, вот нам показывают
They can make their way back
картинку.
to the mainland safely, and we'll certainly keep tabs on those travelers.
And reconnect with their loved ones. We want to monitor conditions right now with Hurricane Irma. You can see on the graphic, inching ever so closely to the peninsula. And let's welcome in meteorologist Steve Weigel for his shift tonight. Steve, welcome aboard. Where are we at right now?
Not tonight yet, Jay, but it feels like it, doesn't it?
It's ongoing.
Что-то не все так улыбаются, все так не так страшно, что ли?
I think a lot of people are in that situation,
think you're right.
you know?
Yeah.
It just feels like an endless day.
It does, and you know, as we go through this evening and tonight too, we're going to watch this one mile by mile, every minute of the way. It still looks really an incredible storm, and to think that it's been hugging the coastline of northern Cuba for about 12 hours and hasn't really weakened much at all. And look at as it reemerges off the north coast. Look at how quickly all that dry air on the western side of this starts to fill in. Notice how the thickness here of the red area. Those are the super cold cloud tops. This is what protects the entire hurricane. And the larger this red area surrounding the storm is, the less likely it is going to weaken. And the official forecast has this strengthening again as it heads towards Key West, and then eventually Fort Myers and the Naples area. And I'll tell you, it's certainly doing it right now. I mean, almost any other storm that I have watched in the last 25, 30 years would have taken a big hit on a track like this, where it's half over land for such a long period of time. But this one is just kind of rebounding very quickly. So from the Upper Keys, it's just a little over 100 miles away, and we're already starting to feel some of those rain bands come in through the area. Here's another look at it. There's the eye, obviously, right there, and see how in the last 6 to 8 hours it's just hugged that northern coast right along the barrier islands of Cuba. There's Key West up here, and you can see it's starting to make that turn. It's starting now to lift more northwest. And that's what we've been waiting for with this hurricane. There's very high confidence in the computer models at this point, and the official forecast track has it 125 miles an hour, moving west at 9. Although I think with the next advisory, we may see more of a west-northwest component to this, as it at least, here's what happens with the Hurricane Center. The hurricanes, especially these large ones, go through what we call wobble. So let me go back a frame or two, and you can see this. It doesn't follow exactly on a western or a west-northwest track. There are little bumps in the road, if you will. There was actually quite a significant one last night. So they look at like 6 or 8 hour trends, and so they'll put the point there where it starts and the finish point, and that's the trend. That's what the direction is for the storm. So in this case, I'd say in the last few hours, it's starting a little bit more of a northerly component, but they're going to watch that trend. But it definitely looks, and it is expected to make that west-northwest turn, and eventually toward Key West. That happens overnight. So it's a Category 3 along the north coast, and here's the track for it. So Key West, or in that area, the lower Keys, that's Sunday morning around 8 in the morning, Category 4. So the official forecast has an intensifying hurricane, and then it moves up. It's just off Naples. Naples is right in this area here, and Fort Myers is just to the north, still a 4 at that point. Landfall possibly is a 4. That's Sunday, 8 p.m. And finally, we're getting away from delaying the arrival of the tropical storm and hurricane force winds, because when I was here 3, 4 in the morning, whenever I ended last, this was about the same timeline, this position. Earlier in the week, this was Sunday morning initially, and then it was Sunday afternoon, and now we have Sunday evening. And I think as this storm obviously is just a couple hundred miles away, we're going to keep that timeline, which is good, because a couple of things are happening here. The storm is tracking west. Yesterday, early,
the track was very close to the lake, and then we've just seen consecutive pushes toward the west. And it's not, overall, not a bad day out there. It's breezy. We do have some rain coming in off and on. And we still have a hurricane warning, though. And we still have a very large storm to the south. So I understand some people are taking down their shutters, or at least some of them. I recommend you don't do that, because we now have a tornado watch for Palm Beach County South. And I would put money on the fact that we're going to see a tornado watch extended up through the Treasure Coast as the storm moves closer. So that in itself is going to mean some very gusty winds. And the fact that it's so large, the tropical storm force winds stretch out almost 200 miles from the center. And what will happen here, I expect, is that this storm is going to tap into the warm Gulf Stream waters and bring some of those feeder bands in along the coast. If you were here in Irene in October '99, that was a storm that probably in the record books goes down as a tropical storm coming through here, but it had hurricane force wind gusts, and they came in off the coastline and just wrapped around the storm. I see that scenario possibly happening into late tonight and into tomorrow. So leave those shutters up until the hurricane warning has been discontinued.
Вот интересно такое вот. Они на днях, пару дней назад запускали самолет, который вот занимается ураганами. Они могли что-нибудь такое предпринять, чтобы, допустим, ну, там, снизить скорость урагана или какие-то, ну, сделать вещи такие. Но это же никто не будет знать, конечно. Но вот интересно просто.
Folks in Fort Myers and Tampa were breathing a sigh of relief a couple of days ago, and now they have a Category 4 hurricane headed their way tomorrow. Here's the timeline the computer model tracks, and they've all pretty much adjusted west.
Посмотрим вебку.
מבצעים מדהימים מחכים לכם עכשיו בחגיגת הביסום.
Это рекламка.